6 races, and I think your opening says it all. He has grabbed everything with both hands here, is jumping on this factory attack Yamaha R1, Greg, and just done what we always knew Bobby Fong could do. You see, he had 2 race wins up at Laguna Seca. He absolutely dominated VIR, like unlike anything probably we've seen in a long time. Nobody could even get close or match him here at VIR. Then he went off to Mid-Ohio, had another solid week, and he finds himself 17 points in front at the top of the leaderboard right now, and he looks strong again this weekend.
Yeah, so for Bobby Fong, he's leading this championship with 5 races to go, 125 points. But here's how we got here. The last 6 races, Fong has scored 141 points out of 150, and Cameron Beaubier only with, well, I say only, it's 100 points, but it's Josh Herron with those 3 podiums with 67 points. But it is hot out. I'm sure it's hot on the grid, and the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Jamie Howe, is out there right now.
And Bobby Fong is certainly feeling the heat after a qualifying session that didn't give him quite the results that they would have liked here today. They've gone back to their qualifying setup from the first session of qualifying, which is what has put him in the number 5 starting position. But for you, Bobby, not being 100% comfortable, not getting all of the laps that you've had so far this season, knowing what's on the line in terms of championship points, how do you go into this race?
It's going to be a long, hot, steamy one, but we got to trust in the process, trust in my crew and myself, and just go out and try to do what we've been doing all year. It's not rocket science for myself, so we just got to go out and endure the heat and get into some battles.
It is not rocket science, but it's going to be a difficult one. We wish Bobby the best of luck as we're going to move back one more row on the grid. Tell another story, the Superbike Cup Championship. These are the stock 1000 bikes that are out on the racetrack with the Superbike machinery. We're going to see a lot more of this in the future as news has come out the last week or so that this will be the new championship format going forward. But for you, JD Beach, you're leading the Superbike Cup point standings right now. You have a big opportunity here this weekend. How do you attack it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go do what I've been doing all year long and just try and race forward. And it's cool to have the lead in the Cup class, but I mean, I want to beat these guys. So we're just going to do what we've been doing all year, try and get a good start and slot myself in. It's going to be difficult on this track with the long back straightaway, but we're here to fight, and we'll see what we can do.
Not going to back down. Good luck, Greg.
Yeah, for JD Beach, he's already had a big race today in the heat, so he knows what to expect. And for JD, what a season he has had, both in Superbike and... But now, how about this guy? Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki's Richie Escalante already with a podium this year, and he sat down with our very own Jason Pridmore for our Racer Chat with JP.
Richie, it's been an interesting year for you. It seems like things are really starting to come about, but last year we had a pretty big setback with a big injury in Atlanta that had us all a lot worried. You came back at the end of the year and put some good rides in. How's 25 been going so far?
Yes, after the injury, of course, it's difficult, but we finished with good results. I finished on the podium here in Austin. So this season is up and down, like sometimes feel really good, sometimes difficult to find a good feeling with the bike, but 2 podiums, consistent top 5 finish. So I'm P5 in the championship, so not too bad.
Well, the last 3 rounds, we've really seen the whole team step up. You're lucky enough this year. You had Sean Dillon Kelly as a new teammate. It seems like the elevation of the team, these guys don't stop working. See you guys on the podium at VIR was something special, I think, for everybody.
Yes, to be teammate with SDK is good. Completely different ideas, so I think the package and the team working a little bit together and improve the setting and the bike. It's crazy how much the bike is different, but I think helps just the mentality, motivate, and I'm super happy to work with SDK as a teammate. And I think both very competitive, so I hope to again finish both on the podium.
Well, it's good for us in the commentating booth to see these Suzukis up front, and we wish you the best at COTA. Love for you to say something to your fans back home.
Yeah, well, muchas gracias a todos por el apoyo y nos vemos aquí en Austin, Texas.
Awesome. One of my favorites, Richie Escalante, and it was great to see him be able to get that podium. And as he gets an interview done for ESPN Deportes, let's take a look at the track mat here at Circuit of the Americas here at COTA. 3.4 miles long. It's got a lot of elevation. Turn 1 is super tricky, especially off the start. You peak up to turn number 1 and then down the hill through the S's, and then the passing opportunities begin down in 11 and 12. You go through that S section of 15, 16, 17, 19, and when we get to 20, that's an opportunity. We've seen it earlier today. Draft and pass to the start-finish line, which is really close. But that's the overhead look at Circuit of the Americas. Jason, take us for a little bit more of an intimate look here with the Instant 360 track lap.
Such a tricky place, Greg. This is turn 3 up under the bridge there, into those fast S's. You got to be really razor sharp all through these as you get to the final one. This one here is the longest one. Big, long right-hand corner, turn 6. Flop it back over to the left again. Then you get at the end of the back straightaway. Greg, you're going from 190 mile an hour plus on these Superbikes down to 30 through the middle of turn 12. So there's a lot of things that can happen there. And really one of my favorite turns, turns 16, 17, 18, 19, all through this long right-hand corner here. 17, 18, gonna go back a gear here into 19. That takes us up to turn 20 that you were talking about and a short run to the checkered flag. So there's a lot of strategies you can place, and there's a lot of places you can make passes.
It's a 360 track lap. This guy right here hasn't won a Superbike championship since 2020. It's been 5 years. He's second in points. He's trying to get more points. We'll see after this.
MotoAmerica Superbikes is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, and by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes, live on top sports books and DFS platforms all season long.
Raj, we heard it there from Greg about the time since Cam Beaubier's last championship here in MotoAmerica. Obviously, he'd spent a few years over in the Moto2 World Championship. You can't come back from that and not improve. But Beaubier, now that he's got that all-time win record, he's really able to focus up on trying to win this championship. And Cam Beaubier is going to be a dangerous man these final 2 rounds.
Yeah, he was so impressive this morning. And I think the thing to look for with Beaubier, you've mentioned it quite a few times about the track temperature being higher, and it's going to be quite a bit higher than it was this morning, and that can absolutely change not only the grip but the feeling of the bike. And we'll see with the BMW, they're going to be able to endure the heat. We also found out after qualifying this morning he's got an injured hand. He had a crash training on his road bike, so this is not one of those tracks you want to come to on a Superbike with an injured hand.
Yeah, that's why I avoid the cycling and training, just to make sure you don't pick up an injury like that. But for Beaubier, it's shown no ill effects over a single lap, but 12 laps leaves you nowhere to hide as well.
Yeah, and for him, he hasn't did a ton of laps this weekend because of the hand injury. So really, it's a lot of unknowns going into this race, and then Jake Gagne starts to really pick up the pace toward the end of the session. Josh Herron, Sean Dillon Kelly, and Richie Escalante on the Suzukis have been pretty steady all weekend, so it's going to be interesting. The first couple laps is really going to tell the story.
Yeah, you got to like what you've seen from Jake Gagne into this weekend in the opening race of the weekend here at COTA. Front row of the grid, top 3 in free practice on Friday. He's looked strong and consistent all the way through. He's been the lead Yamaha rider as well. Bobby Fong from the middle of the second row of the grid, our championship leader, the rider with all the form coming into this weekend. He needs to make sure he's able to find something there going into this 12 laps race. It's going to be Greg White and Jason Pridmore and Jamie Howe taking us through the action here at COTA.
Back at Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. A spectacular facility. By the way, you can play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike Baggers and Super Sport Series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now. Incredible weekend we have had here, Jason Pridmore, but look at the number 27, Ashton Yates. What do you got to say about this guy?
I've just been so impressed with Ashton all year long, Greg, and this kid just keeps to himself. He works awful hard, when he's away from the racetrack, and he's got a great little program over there with the Jones Honda guys, and he's been really competitive in our Stock 1000 class, obviously this season. We've seen him up front a lot, but even here today, Greg, he's qualified 8th in Superbike, runs a 209.384, and thought it would be important to give him a little bit of a shout out because we don't get to see him much in the Superbike races, but he's always just sneaking around, riding with guys that are on some better equipment here and there. And yeah, it's really good to see Ashton riding as well as he is.
Yeah. Take a look at that starting grid because you mentioned Ashton was in 8th place, but it's Cameron Beaubier. Didn't quite break the track record, but still a 207 flat is extremely fast.
But how about Jake Gagne? Only 3/10 off that, Greg, and Herron's going to round out the front row. SDK 1 second back on that Suzuki. Bobby Fong and Escalante. Great to see the M4 bikes just continuing to get better and better with the hard work of that team. Gillum, Yates, and Beach all Honda row 3. Flinders, Nolan Lampkin, and Ben Smith on row number 4. We got Bryce Cornbow, Jason Waters, and from Australia, Max Stouffer. Great to see him over here. Danilo Lewis, Dion Campbell, and Bobby Davis outside of row number 6. A little further back, good to see Alex Arango, Zach Schumacher, Blackman, and Joe Giannato, who we've seen for many years now in our MotoAmerica paddock. So it's full great, Greg, as far as got a good of Superbikes, some Superbike Cup bikes, and look at how steep that turn 1 is. It's so important to get up through there good. I think for Bobby Fong, Greg, coming in here with a 17-point lead, you know, these guys don't like talking championship much, but for me, I feel like if he can just sort of get himself a good, solid top 3 finish here today, if that's possible, and start, and even on the weekend, head to Jersey. I think we're going to have a hell of a shootout there when we get to New Jersey Motorsports Park.
All right, so the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha riders looking for a good result here, but Cameron Beaubier on that Tyler Cycle BMW looking for a good launch off the line to get up to turn number 1 and get a clear racetrack ahead of him for lap number 1. And the BMW is a good motorcycle to get that done up that massive hill. It's 12 laps scheduled in Superbike Race number 1. The lights are on, so we're getting ready to go. Here we go, clutch is out, good launch. It looked like Josh Herron might have got an extremely good launch.
Gagne.
He's up the inside is Gagne, so position goes to the number 1 plate, and once again, the Ducati rider puts himself in a great position, and he'll lead.
Bobby Fong from the second row, Greg, also got a tremendous launch. He's going to see him there slot into the 4th, right behind Cameron Beaubier. Then we're going to get SDK there in 5th, and one of the Hondas has jumped himself into 6th. So as we lead our way through the S's this first time, Herron is right where he wants to be. I really feel like the danger man of the weekend, when you look at it, and it's pretty easy to say now, is Cam Beaubier. He's been extremely strong on that number 6 Tyler's BMW. 17 points back. He realizes the importance it is going to be for him to beat Bobby Fong. And for Herron, after our Mid-Ohio that he had just a really rough weekend for Josh, he's even riding a little bit injured still from that accident we saw in race 2. 27 points back. He really has to expect nothing more than 50 points this weekend to try to really give himself a great shot in Jersey.
Yeah, talk to Herron and his right leg. There's just a big hematoma. It's Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati rider Josh Herron. We're talking about the number 1 plate out front. He said there's a couple sections of this racetrack. It's not so much turning the bike back and forth, but it's leaning off the motorcycle and getting down into that full position when he's on the right side of the bike that hurts him the most.
Cam Beaubier slides himself up underneath the number 50 of Bobby Fong at the end of the back straightaway, so takes advantage of that BMW power he has got underneath him. More importantly, Cam looks so good through this next little section this morning. I was watching through these next big long rights, and he looks so comfortable as Herron just gets out a little bit wide on the exit there. Turn number 15.
Fong gets a little wide, but he's able to take a nice tight line. That Yamaha R1 can carve some corners. So on our first lap of competition, it's Herron from the 32 of Jake Gagne. Of course, we know Gagne, champion in 21, 22, and 23. One season on the back of 17 race wins out of 20 in a season.
And I know it sounds crazy. We're talking about these top 3 guys that we've been talking about this year for the championship. Jake Gagne is 58 points back. We still got 5 rounds to go as Cameron Beaubier is going to take a look now up the inside of Gagne. Gagne has put together a fairly consistent year, and a year that I don't think he'd be that happy with, just because he's still been fighting a few little problems. But you see, Greg, he's more than capable of still battling at the front. Herron comes across the lead with about a 0.2 of a second lead as Bobby Fong now takes a shot at Gagne in the S's, and he's going to go through on his teammate. So now we have those top 3 that we know are in the championship battle running 1, 2, and 3.
Josh Herron looking awfully good out front right now, Jamie.
Yes, and after falling back to 3rd in those championship point standings, he said he had to come into this weekend and really just reevaluate what it was he was spending all of his time thinking about. And he thinks he was spending too much time thinking about those little championship points. He said, I'm a rider. I have to come out here and ride and just let everything else work its way out. And that all starts off with a Good Friday. And this weekend, yesterday, he had that Good Friday. And he said those 2 weekends that didn't pan out, that was Mid-Ohio and VIR, those are behind him now. His head's forward, and he's focusing on the big picture.
And he's doing such a good job right now, Jay.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do, and it's funny to hear. You know, that like now he's just got to dig deep. Does the number 1, and you know the thing is, Greg, is we watch him lead these races, and he's extremely difficult to pass. And Cam Beaubier wasn't able to really draft and do anything with him down that back straightaway either. But Josh's biggest strength to me is his ability to, when he gets past, he fires right back. He's not going to take it laying down type of thing. So for Herron, the second he gets passed by somebody, he fires back. So you, as a competitor, you have to start thinking of places that you can, pass him that are going to give him limited opportunities to get right back through. So Cam Beaubier is going to follow here for a lap or so, kind of see where things are. And we also know Josh is extremely good under braking. So when they come out of this last corner here, turn number 20, they go down here. These bikes, generally, Greg, will go all the way back to first gear, up to fifth down the straight, and then all the way back down through the gears. But look how good that Ducati jumps out of that last corner.
I think one of the strengths of Josh Herron is when he has a motorcycle to fight with in racing, that he's really good at figuring out, okay, if I'm not exactly great right here, or the bike setup isn't great here, I'm going to work my way around it. There's a look at a couple of Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzukis. That's the number 40 of Kelly, and 54 is Escalante. And one of the things you'll notice is the new livery for the weekend. This is the 40th anniversary of the GSXR. Just in general, the Suzuki GSXR, the motorcycle that really started a lot of this stuff. And it is really great to see that livery as Cameron Beaubier goes fastest lap of the race so far to 2:08.9.
Yeah, and in my discussion with Richie Escalante the other day, I think that this is the best part about that whole team. Both riders have gone a completely different direction with setup, and the team has embraced both of that. So they're not just looking at one setup that works for one guy, it's just automatically going to work for the next. They're willing to let both guys go a direction, and both riders are competitive, as you can see them riding around together. As the top four now are starting to get away from fifth and sixth just a little bit.
I saw some wheel spin, Jay, and sideways for the 32.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 corners ago.
Yes.
So Gagne trying to hold on to that thing, already getting some wheel spin out of his Yamaha.
Yeah, and it's hard, Greg. If you lose this toe down the straightaway, it just becomes increasingly more difficult. All these first turn corners that you see, and I think a lot of track day riders will relate to this. We always feel pretty comfortable in slow turns because fast corners limit us in our minds of what we think that we can actually do. The problem is you don't want to start going too fast in slow corners because that's where your biggest mistakes can be made. So you think of our riders right now, they're having to go through these first gear corners as much as they are. Bobby Fong, they're extremely tight. I've seen him a couple times now into this big, long turns, 16, 17, and 18. It's extremely tight on his entry there. We'll keep an eye on that. But you can make so many mistakes in these first gear turns, and that can lead to big gaps. Escalante looks like he's got a little bit of pace right now in SDK, doesn't he?
He certainly does. That's the battle for fifth between those two, with Hayden Gillum right behind him, and then Hayden's teammate JD Beach on that Superbike Cup machine. So the 69 is Gillum on that Honda CBR 1000 RR-RSP. The Superbike hybrid, I guess we can call it. It continues to be developed over the course of the season. JD Beach on the pure stock 1000 machine, competing in the Superbike Cup for the championship. If JD Beach is able to stay in the position he's in now, by the way, Jason, he's going to win that championship this race.
Yeah, that's really good. So looking at this, 2:09 flat for Herron, fastest lap of the race for him personally. Like you said, Greg, just now, we saw 2:08.9. This is kind of what you'd expect from 4 veterans of our class. Everybody right now is kind of letting Josh do his thing out front, and it's kind of a feeling out process here of where's my bike a little bit better, where are things a little bit advantageous for me in the package that I have sitting underneath me. And they also feel, Greg, that this lap time that they're doing, nobody's going to be really capable of just running away. So if you're the riders in second, third, and fourth, there's really no reason for you to wear out your equipment, wear out your tires too much, and just kind of play it a bit coy. We're only 4 laps into a 12-lap race. I suspect that by about lap 7, 8, we'll start to see these tires, we'll start to see a little bit more movement in the tires because of the heat, and a little bit more strategy will start playing out on who's got the better bike.
So Herron getting the motorcycle upright, getting on the meat of the tire, and driving that Ducati, even in these small sections. The question I have is, with what's happened with Josh's leg and the limited mobility, is how much training he's been able to do the last couple of weeks. And that's where, like for Herron, deep into this race, when we get to 2 or 3 laps to go, is he going to have the physical fitness to be able to rustle this monster around and bring it home in first place?
I think anybody that's ridden at a high level or played sports at a high level will tell you that when you have an injury that Josh has, he's going to be able to put that out from his brain for 12 laps. I mean, he's ridden hurt before. And right now he realizes that he's got bigger picture in hand. He's got to be able to try to go out and win this championship for this team and for the second year straight. And he wants to deliver a couple of wins here at COTA. And it's amazing what adrenaline does. We've heard it from some of the best athletes in the world at times. And you're sometimes capable of doing superhuman things, even if you're a little bit injured. And we know, Greg, we've seen him be able to walk. It's not like he had to have any big surgeries on or anything, so his body didn't get torn into. I think it was a cracked fibula that he had on the outside of his leg. And this is the hardest part right here. You use your legs a lot through these S's, and he'll definitely be feeling that.
Yeah, and talking to Gagne about this particular section he's in, too, as we look at a replay.
Well, we're gonna see a Honda also go. We're gonna see a little bit of smoke, but look at the very top. One of the Hondas went wide that last time by. I think it was JD Beach. He went 2:12.8, and his teammate was at a 2:09.8. So JD lost touch with Hayden Gillum that last time they went down into turn 12.
So the top three in order, and Gagne, not losing anything, is right back in tow.
Oh,
no!
Man, he tried to save that. Gosh, you could see it happening from so far back. That front end just started to tuck, and he was trying so hard to save it.
It's funny because it looked like us, like that's the slowest high side in the history of mankind, but not really. Yeah. Pretty fast, but it's what you were talking about before, Jay. Very slow.
Slow turns.
Slow turns. That's what'll catch you out. And boy, you just saw Jake Gagne's skill on display. He nearly saved that. That would have been a highlight for the ages if he was able to hold on to that. So unfortunately for Bobby Fong, he's not going to get any help from his teammate after that low side. But back up front we go to these top three. Another look at it.
It's just going to happen so slow. There's a small, tiny bump. I want to see if he hits it on the very inside apex. See it? It's right at the apex of that turn. It just was enough to get the bars turned a little bit sideways. He did everything he could, and thank goodness it pirouetted him off to the inside of the track and not right down the middle, and he was waving to the people behind him. Now, one thing I'm really noticing, Greg, to me, Fong has a lot of pace. He has pace in this first split, and he has pace towards the end of the lap. I would not be surprised if relatively soon we see Bobby Fong start taking a couple of shots at the guys in front of him. Keep in mind, he rode around the outside of his teammate out of turn 2 going to turn 3. I don't think he's quite close enough to do it here. But Bobby Fong, you're going to watch as we get to the end of these S's. See, there's a little bit of a gap there now. By the time we get to the end of these S's, the number 50 is right on the back of these guys. You might even see something here in a minute out of turn 6 going to turn 7 as they go through this big long right. Let's see if Bobby tries to put himself. No, he's not going to do it this time, but this is all area where I feel Bobby's got a little bit of pace.
Yeah, we look at the top speeds on the back straightaway as Fong. Look like
there was some, right?
Yeah, he's definitely got pace in the corners. I think it's when he gets on the back straightaway and pulls the trigger. It just doesn't have enough to pass at this point. But neither does Cameron Beaubier.
But look at it. See the pace that even Bobby has down through that fast left. And, you know, Cam is going to, you know, as a rider, you start to feel around you. You hear certain sounds. You know where riders are. Cam's in a difficult spot right now because he's got to try to decide when he wants to get by Heron, but he sees +0 on his board every single time through. And he knows that Fong wants to get by. And, you know, Cameron's going to have to start to figure out what he's going to do with Heron here shortly. Another shot as they come out of there. And look at who's just still hanging in there. Richie Escalante, he got past his teammate Sean Dillon Kelly a lap or so ago. He's at a 2:09.6. Richie Escalante on the 54 GSX-R 1000 back there, he is running the exact same pace as the leaders. 2:06.5 last time by for Heron and a 2:09.6 for Escalante. So he wants these three riders in front of him to ever so slightly start to mess about a bit, and it's going to give him a shot.
6.5 laps to go for the number 1 plate. And I'll tell you, Jay, you know, as I look at these three riders and how they're riding, what kind of breaks my heart is Richie Escalante back and forth, because he's been able to go that same pace.
Yep.
So the question is, as you were talking about it, is looking forward to tomorrow. If you were talking to Escalante, what advice would you have for him, basically? Or is it like one of those, the bike's not set up to go fast at the first couple laps of the race and is better when the tires wear in?
There's so much team continuity down there between the riders that he definitely doesn't want to do anything to take Sean Dillon Kelly to get out to the front. But for Rich, it's just getting that better start, getting himself up front with these guys first, and going from there. What else can you tell us about Richie, Jamie?
Over the course of the weekend through the sessions, Richie's been more and more enthused with the setup that team has been able to come to. And he said going into this morning's qualifying session that he just needed to be able to put it all together. He was able to do that, and he said he was able to do it consistently. So he had a lot of confidence coming into the race today, knowing that their race pace was good, but that he also had just a little bit extra in the tank if he was put in a position where he could potentially go for one of those podium spots. So now in the second half of this race, we see the pace that he has. Everything is unfolded exactly the way Richie Escalante was hoping it would.
And the other thing too is that you know how it goes with racing. If these three start to mix each other up, then Escalante, who just went 2:09.7, who is about a half a second quicker than the riders in front of him.
Fastest
just
rider on the track.
Exactly, and the 1.8 second gap is what he's looking at. But we still have a lot of track to go. Is Escalante on that GSXR 1000 sideways off the back straightaway? He's got to keep it nice and tight, but how much tire is he burning up to do this?
Well, he's going to be doing that a little bit, but the thing you got to remember, Greg, is this is what makes COTA a little bit different than most tracks. You've got to be able to control your excitement. You see yourself running in these three riders at the front, and that's where these first turns, again, these first gear turns can really kind of make mistakes happen. So for Richie right now, as you see, Bobby Fong got that bike extremely loose and extremely tight again into these big, long right-handers. For Richie, he's just got to kind of keep that excitement to a minimum, know that he's kind of running these guys back down, and seeing how many laps we got left to go. 6 laps. What is he, Greg? He's 1.8 back that last time by behind Fong. Let's see if he's trimmed that gap down even more, because he's just gone his personal best split in that third, and he has, Greg, he's another 0.2 off, so he's still the fastest rider on the track.
So Josh Herron is on the Dunlop R5. When we talk about these numbers, the lower the number, the softer the compound. So all those riders are on an R5 front, and Josh Herron is on the hardest option, R7 rear. So Herron's got the hardest option tire, which doesn't necessarily pay dividends on certain setups with the extra heat. Sometimes the soft tire is better in the heat, but right now it is working for Josh Herron as he has controlled his pace since the beginning with 4.5 laps to go. But Cameron Beaubier is trying to think at this point, what am I going to do with this guy? And again, Fong runs up the inside. Ducati versus BMW versus Yamaha in this shootout.
And Bobby's bike's better through here as well. This is wide open fourth gear on these Superbikes, and he's able to close up even there. And for Bobby right now, I do see some wheel spin, but if you watch, Greg, there's definitely a difference in lines that Bobby can take than the other two. Bobby is a lot tighter in some spots. Even when we get down into the turn 19 area, you're going to see it, that he is able to get the Yamaha in on a little bit tighter line and still make the turn and still close up on the guys in front of him. The biggest problem I have with that right now, and the only thing we got to really be careful is we go back a little bit here to the Hayden Gillen battle. He as well has got by SDK. So we have a Honda now that's running there in that 5th spot as he's got by SDK on this lap. But I just wonder about Bobby's front tire. Entering a little bit tighter into some of these corners can sometimes abuse it. Watch here where these two guys are. Bobby's a lot tighter on the entrance to this long right-hander than the two in front. Now, Cameron Beaubier, to me, is starting to ramp something up here. You can tell he's kind of starting to maybe get a little bit impatient. Again, look where Bobby is. See how much tighter he is there than the two in front. So Bobby right now has just got to try to figure out a way to get by as quickly as he can. He's got to try to pick Cameron Beaubier off, or maybe he's waiting for Cameron to do something with Herron and attack immediately on Herron.
What do you have, Jamie?
We were just talking about the fact that Josh Herron is on the R7 front and rear, and I just checked in with Simone, his crew chief, and he said, you know, we did try both of them obviously over the course of the weekend, and they could do the same lap time with the R7 that they could with the R5, but they really feel like aboard that Ducati they get a lot more consistency out of the R7, and it's really, I think, what you're seeing with Josh being able to hold off this pack this long in this race.
Yeah, and lap times have barely dropped off. 1 second from his fastest lap of the race. Herron, I'm talking about, at a 2:09 flat. Now last time by a 2:10. Beaubier has got the fastest lap of the race on lap 2 at a 2:08.947 and goes 2:09. So it's still an extremely fast pace with the heat here in Texas and with 3.5 laps to go.
Yeah. And I just think right now probably the most frustrated rider here is going to be Bobby, because he's got two guys racing hard in front of him, and he just can't find a way through, Greg, can he? I mean, it just seems like really difficult. Herron gets a little bit loose on the exit there. Bobby's a little bit closer this time as far as maybe getting a draft, but The two bikes in front of him are just a little bit quicker down this big straightaway, and you can see Escalante continues to keep his head down, trying to catch up to these guys.
Dude, I have to say that Herron's Ducati off the back straightaway looks so stable when he's under braking. He's going to be really difficult. 198 miles per hour that last time in a draft for Cameron Beaubier to 145.5 for Herron, pushing his own air, and 193.4 miles per hour for Bobby Fong in the double bike draft.
Yeah, and that's the difference. And again, Bobby's super tight going into this long section. And when you look at Richie Escalante at 189.1, you know, he's pushing his own air back there. So that's what's making Escalante's bid to get closer to these guys. But look at Craig, he is definitely closing. Escalante right now is just doing everything he can as he gets that GSX-R 1000 loose on the exit of turn 19. And Bobby is also going to see his lap board start to come down, that there is somebody catching him as well. So for Bobby, he does not want to get past and lose more championship points. And his board probably is only going to give him now probably a +1 back to Escalante. Escalante again, 209.4, almost a half a second quicker than the guys in front of him. Here comes Cameron Beaubier. He's going to make a bid.
There goes Beaubier up the inside. He's had enough of following Herron, so he'll take over the lead into the S's. And now we're going to see if there's anything in the tank that Beaubier has when he learned following Herron. But Herron's never going to give this up. So here we go. Let's see how it goes for the number 6.
Bobby's going to try to maybe do something out of this left-hander into the next right. Ooh. Possibly. Nope, not close enough. But now, this is the thing about Herron. Beaubier's got to open up a big enough gap through these next two corners. Otherwise, he knows that Ducati's going to do everything he can. So this is Cameron getting close enough into turn 2 and just straightening the bike up right and almost going, you see him, Greg, go over the inside paint down into turn 3. See how tight Cameron went in there? That's going to kind of mess up his drive a little bit. Let's see if he can get that BMW up and out without getting drafted by this Ducati. I think Herron's too close to him still.
Yeah, I think Beaubier made a mistake there, thinking that Herron was going to try to attack him. I understand the racecraft, but it's cost him as Herron goes up the inside. He's got position on Beaubier, and he's going to let off the brake lever. They go side by side, and Herron retakes the spot.
Yep, this is, so to your point, Cameron knew that Herron's a guy that's going to come right back after you, and Cameron goes right back after Herron.
Wow.
And he's going to make that pass stick. So Cameron did. You're exactly right, Greg. He went really tight into turn 11, and now he's going to do everything he can to get away. This is where Beaubier, to me, this big long right, he is so fast through here this morning, and I think he'll open up maybe a little bit of a gap through here.
And it just looks like Beaubier's got a little bit more rear grip right now than Josh Herron does. There's been a lot of finishing quarters with the rear end of the motorcycle for the number 1 plate. All the while, there's Fong back there going, where am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to make this move? And by the way, his pit board this time by is going to say, by the way, Richie Escalante is only 1 second behind you, Bobby. You got to get going if you want to hold on to this podium.
Well, even more to your point right now, Fong knows that to get himself into second, he's giving up less points to Cameron Beaubier, who is his closest championship rival. He'd love to give up just 5 points rather than, I think it's 8.
Yeah.
Would it be 8 points? Mm-hmm. So he's going to try to get by Herron, but see, this is what happens. As soon as you go by Josh Herron, he just latches onto the back of you, and he is not letting Cameron Beaubier just kind of creep away. Herron, all these guys have so much to play for all the way through our championship. They all need to win for different reasons, and mostly as we look at Herron, he's right up the back of Beaubier again.
Jason, you talked about points, a 17 between Bobby Fong and look at Herron. Right up the inside he goes. Can he hold the line? No, oh, Beaubier. That was courteous. He could have tried to force the issue, but Herron's knee was right there.
Hey, man, that guy behind him in 4th is loving watching this all happening right in front of him.
Exactly.
So he would love to be the spoiler. Greg, how about this? We have a Ducati, a BMW, a Yamaha, and a Suzuki in our top 4, all covered by 1.7 seconds, and Escalante just keeps digging away. Now, can Beaubier do the same? See, Beaubier really can't get in the draft of the Ducati, and this is what Herron does so well. He knows what he has underneath him, so he knows that those guys probably can't draft him, so he can kind of run the line he wants to when he gets down into the braking areas.
Yeah, it's so good. When he pulls the trigger on the Ducati as the number 1 plate, he's not vulnerable at all, especially in those braking zones. So Beaubier, with now 20 plus a couple corners to go in this race, has got to come up with a different plan for Escalante. It looks like he's close, but he's running out of racetrack as well.
Greg, we got 1 and 3 corners to go. One lap and 3 corners to go, essentially. So, again, this is a chance for who is going to take the biggest chance right now. Who wants this championship worse than the next? And how big are we willing to go to get ourselves to the front? So there's a lot of scenarios, and Escalante could be there to be a spoiler on the last lap somewhere on this lap.
What does Bobby Fong and the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha have in mind for these two? Onto the front straightaway we go to take the white flag. One to go for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati machine of Josh Herrin. What a display he has put on to Cameron Beaubier on the Tytler Cycles BMW.
See how tight he is? You see how tight he was? He's not going to let him by it. And watch this. Herrin will open up turn 2 to make it to where Cameron can't go through on him. Let's see if he does that. He's going to open that up, and you can't get through there. As we see, Max Flinders has had a problem. There only one guy in the 209s, and that is Richie Escalante, 209.5 again. Look at him hustling the GSXR, trying to get to the back of these. If he can get a draft, any kind of draft down the back straightaway, it's going to help him. Does Bobby take a shot on anybody? Look at Cameron Beaubier. He's trying as well. Look at Bobby. I thought one of them might try something there. Now, does somebody get stood up down into this last corner as well? That's the next big thing. Bobby's close enough to Cam, but Cam's not close enough to Josh.
Josh is so good on the brakes. I mean, it's one of his strong suits and one of the biggest tools in his toolbox. No Escalante. Oh, Richie Escalante.
Where's Escalante?
Out of the frame. What a charge he has had through the field. We don't see him in the back of your screen. So down on the last lap here, it's down to these three. A braking opportunity, and there's Escalante, and it looks like he's out of it.
Did his bike break?
Josh Herrin under control off the back straightaway on this final lap. Cameron Beaubier is running out of real estate if he's going to make a move. Herrin's so good because Beaubier gave it to him a couple laps too early.
Oh, this is where it's going to get tricky. Herrin's going to run it tight into this next left and not allow anybody to come up underneath him. Cameron Beaubier wanted to try it. There's no way. I knew Herrin. Now Bobby's going to go tight here to try to go up underneath Beaubier possibly, but he's not going to get close enough either.
Herrin needs a new helmet design. He needs to put eyes on the back of his helmet because he knows what his competition is up to, as Josh Herrin has put on an unbelievable display. Here comes Bobby Fong up the inside. Is he going to get one position? No! And he crosses back, and Beaubier's not going to give it to him. But that's going to allow... Oh, here comes Beaubier all the way to the apex. He's trying to get a turn, but Josh Herrin squares it up. Is Beaubier going to lose second place?
Oh,
no,
man.
he's able to hold on.
Wow.
And Herrin with a big race win. What a victory.
What a race.
For the Californian. Beaubier able to hold on by 31/100ths of a second over Bobby Fong. Hayden Gillum on the Honda. We had Ducati, BMW, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Honda 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now Hayden Gillum is going to come across the line.
It's JD Beach here. He's going to come across
fourth place, JD in sixth, as Sean Dillon Kelly now. So we still go Ducati, BMW, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki in your top 5. And then JD Beach, Benjamin Smith on the Yamaha, Ashton Yates on the Honda, Danilo Lewis on the BMW, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be Jake Gagne. Picked it up and finished 10th.
That's absolutely the best case scenario for Josh Herrin there. He got the most points he could get on the guy leading the championship. These guys were battling the whole way through, Greg, and you can see any thought that Cam had going into the last corner when Bobby threw a shot at him in 19. But how about this? Look at Bob. Look at Cam. Just goes right to the apex. I was worried he was going to lose second, too, and I'm sure Bobby's eyes lit up as you can see Bobby lighten up the rear Dunlop on the exit of that last corner. But man, and it's so clean watching these three guys race against each other. There was nothing in that race that you could say about anything that anybody did. Just good, clean, hard racing by the three guys.
He had to. I mean,
you got to appreciate it.
You don't want to roll up, And you're talking about perfect scenario because Herrin was 10 points back on Beaubier in third place and Beaubier in second place. And there's a look at the finish. That's how close it was. That's 0.031 of a second. So with Josh Herrin, he's going to gain that 5 points back on Cameron Beaubier to have that. And then, of course, he's going to get those extra points.
What is it, 8 points did he gain today on Bobby?
9 points. 25 to 16, 9
that's
points.
Huge.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Huge.
When it was 17 points. So it's got this championship just got super tight.
But this is what this guy does. You know, when we see the mistakes that he made at Mid-Ohio, and I think if you go and talk to Josh, he would tell you that there were some things he wishes he could have done differently at Mid-Ohio, but he doesn't give up. That's the thing you got to love about him. And this is a huge victory, probably one of the biggest ones for him ever.
Without question. And we're going to talk to him on the other side of this break and find out how he was able to endure the pain to take this awesome victory.
Rog, we came into this one 27 points separated the top 3 in the standings. It's 18 points now. We had 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 through that race. We had Richie Escalante catching up on the race leaders in those closing stages before his problem. But that's as good of a Superbike race as you'll see anywhere this year.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than that, and it's great to see. That's what you want to see, the top 3 fighting for the title, fighting it out for the race win, too. Every point is going to be so important, but can't say enough about Josh Herron. He knows how to win these races when the lights go out. Even practice and qualifying, it didn't go, right to plan for him, even though he was on provisional pole yesterday afternoon. This morning, he wasn't as quick as Beaubier, but when the lights go out, he just knows how to get it done.
Yeah, you could see, as ever, he's as combative as usual, but what was great to see was the scrap from Beaubier as well. Every time that one of them overtook each other, they came straight back at each other, and that lap at around 2/3 distance whenever they traded places 3 times just goes to show how much both of them wanted it. You can see for Josh Herron making his way back in towards the podium celebrations, and for Herron, that's a really important win. He's now got the most wins of anyone in the season, but those points mean that he's able to close up a big margin on Bobby Fong, back to 18 points. And for Josh, after those tough couple of rounds, he's going to think it's game on again for the championship.
Yeah, he's got the momentum back on his side, and I think it was a good ride for Bobby Fong. The way this morning he looked pretty uncomfortable, and then back in this race he looked like the Bobby of that we've seen all year long. So I think it was a huge race for Bobby. He's just struggling in one area down the back straightaway to be able to make a pass on these guys.
8 podiums in a row now for Bobby Fong, and that's what's allowed him to lead this championship. Cam Beaubier just comes up short, but that last corner of the race, we were able to see Beaubier just about hold off Bobby Fong, but the dive down the inside, he had made his decision. He was going to attack one way or the other, but he did well to hold on to that second position.
I'm not sure how he stayed on track. When I seen him come from that far back and pass Josh Herron, I thought he was definitely going to lose second place as well, but only Beaubier would be able to get that bike stopped and turned around.
Yeah, 4 races left in the season, and Beaubier back in contention. Josh Herron showing that form, and Bobby Fong still our championship leader, but very quickly as well. Richie Escalante's performance was very impressive.
Very impressive, and just lost a little bit too much those first couple laps. But Escalante, I think, can go into tomorrow and just know he's got to get a little bit better start. And these guys at the front are so good now, getting up to speed right away from that first lap, so you can't spot them anything. Jake Gagne was in this battle as well. It was unfortunate about his crash. Good to see him get up and be okay and finish the race.
Yeah, slow speed crash, and one of those crashes where Jake's thinking, I've got this, and then able to come back from the crash to finish inside the top 10, showed his speed, and he's had speed all weekend.
Yeah, he has, and I think it's going to be a good feeling for him. He was able to be up in that battle where he wants to be. Just a little mistake there getting onto the back straightaway, and I think that's just him breaking deep, trying to get that long, good run.
And we can see down there as well, Cam Beaubier after that second place finish, 20 points for Beaubier. Gives up 5 to Josh Herron. He doesn't want to give up points to Herron, but at least able to pull back 4 points on Bobby Fong as well.
Yeah, and just collect the points. With that battle, things could go wrong with that, and that Bobby made a look at a couple areas. But I think for Beaubier, he just kind of feels like maybe he was the quickest rider today, but didn't get the win.
Yeah, 13 points back of our championship leader now after that second place finish. And for Cam Beaubier, he'll know he'll get another shot tomorrow. And like you said, Rog, he's got the speed here this weekend on the BMW to be able to challenge for another race victory. That would be his 6th of the season. It's been a strong start to the season. It's all coming down to these last 2.
Back here at Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. What a race we had in Superbike. Here's a look at those results as Josh Herron, 0.3 seconds over Beaubier. Beaubier took the shot on the last lap, but Herron was in the perfect position. Then Fong, Gillum, and Kelly. Let's get down to Jamie.
For the 6th time this season, but 60th time in his AMA career, Josh Herron is on the top step of the podium. And Josh, after all of the victories that you've been able to celebrate over the course of this time out here racing, the ones where you have to go out there and you really have to put it all on the line, how much more rewarding are they?
Yeah, that was just pure adrenaline right there rushing through my veins. I just knew I had to get everything I had. Middle of the race, kind of stepped back a little bit because nobody was making any stabs at me, so I was trying to just save some energy and just keep my leg from locking up because it was getting pretty tight there at the beginning. And yeah, whenever Cam came by me, I just said, all right, this is the time right here where we fight. You know, it's 5 races left all year now. I've been thinking championship, and I just got to get out of my head. I got to go out there, push as hard as I can. We did exactly what we needed to do this weekend. We put Cam in between me and Bobby, so got a good points haul on Bobby, got a little bit on Cam, and now we're just we're out there having fun, man. That's what I talked about at the beginning of this weekend. You know, I'm an assistant coach on Griffin's baseball team this year, and today is his first game. So like, if I'm missing his first game, we got to get a win. So I was riding with Griffin on my shoulders there, and just super happy, super grateful for my entire Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York team, InfoHorse, Parts Unlimited, everybody that's involved in our program. It's so huge, you know. These last 2 weekends where we were struggling felt like an eternity for sure after getting 5 wins in a row, and you know, it just feels super good to be able to give this to my team, and hopefully we can ride this wave and go into tomorrow. And then last year we got, me and my teammate got both wins at Jersey, so hopefully we have some good luck there. And yeah, just super pumped and grateful to be here, and happy to be alive and with my family.
Congratulations on the victory today. Coming in our second place position here, second place in the championship standings for Cameron Beaubier. The risk versus reward. You think big picture, but you think here in the moment. What were you willing to put on the line against Josh?
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't quite able to ride to my full potential in just do the lap times I did earlier in the weekend, but I mean, nevertheless, I just want to give a shout out to my Tyler's BMW guys. They've been working so hard. Everyone kind of found out I was trying to keep it quiet, but everyone kind of found out I had a little wrist injury last weekend, and they've been doing a lot with the bike just to get me comfortable. Dr. Price has been helping me out a lot too, so big thanks to him. And yeah, I mean, happy with a second. Obviously, would have loved to get a win, but you know, had a good little battle there at the end, and yeah, congrats to Josh, congrats to Bob, and yeah, go put on a good show tomorrow, and moved on to New Jersey.
Taking home some championship points as well. Congratulations to Cameron Beaubier, moving over to third place here today, but still leading this championship points battle. Bobby Fong, for you, it was a frustrating start to the weekend. You weren't really sure what you were going into the race with, but now knowing what you're able to fight with, what does this do for your momentum tomorrow?
It was good to get this one out of the way. You know, we had a little bad luck yesterday, just me overriding, but congrats to these 2 injured guys. Obviously, they're riding injured and they're riding good, and we just got to keep our head held higher. You know, we knew coming in here we'd struggle maybe a little bit, but I'm happy. You know, we're going to go in New Jersey after tomorrow, and I've done quite well there in the past. So staying motivated, and we got another one tomorrow.
Happy Bob is a racy Bob.
Certainly is, and a good run for him, and it was so close. But the question is, what's going to be, you know, we have the Superbike Cup standings as well, Jason Pridmore. And the good news on this one for JD Beach is that 101 points ahead for JD Beach. He wraps up that Superbike Cup championship in $25,000. Our coverage of Superbike here at Circuit Americas continues after this.
It's always easy after a race like that, Rog, to focus on the podium positions, but let's talk a little bit more about Richie Escalante and his performance on the Suzuki, because the second half of that race, he was closing in on the top 3 riders, and then just really unfortunate to have that issue on the last lap.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Richie, because he might even close down the way these guys were going back and forth that last lap, and closed up there. But just a good run for Richie. It's great to see him, the form that we thought we could see that Richie could have. He had a podium here last year, so I think it's a good track for him. But the pace he had, like you said, he was the quickest rider on track there mid-race.
Yeah, and over the course of the season so far, coming into this one, obviously it's been pretty close between himself and his teammate Sean Dillon Kelly. SDK's had that 1 lap pace advantage in the qualifying session, so many front rows. But Richie, again in this race, able to show that it can come back to him, and he's going to be looking forward to tomorrow's race for sure.
Yeah, he will. And, you know, for Sean, he's going to be a little disappointed with the race today, where he finished and not be in that battle with the fight with the teammate and the leaders as well. So Sean's got a little work to do, but him and that team will work hard and come out fighting tomorrow.
Saw another top 5 finish as well for Hayden Gillimet there on the Honda, and 5 different manufacturers up there in those top 5 positions. Again, just shows the variety we want to see in the Superbike class.
Yeah, it's great to see 5 brands in the top 5, and to your point, that's what we want to see. Just all the different brands have the same opportunity to get out there and fight for wins. And you know, for Hayden, one of the sessions he didn't get a lap in, so he missed out quite a bit of track time going into today's race. So still an impressive ride for him.
obviously he'll be next out as well in the Mission King of the Baggers race from pole position. But just looking forward to tomorrow's race as well. What are you thinking for that one?
Well, I think for Cam, you kind of mentioned that he couldn't ride the way he did this morning. I think overnight he's going to be trying that same thing, trying to figure out how he can have the bike to feel like it did this morning in the afternoon. And I think for Bobby, he knows what he did, all that he could do. He threw everything at it. Team will tell him where Beaubier was better and where Beaubier was taking his shots, and I expect another big battle tomorrow.
You can see JD Beach down there, our Superbike Cup winner for the season, and it's been a really impressive campaign for him, racing in the Superbike class as well and being able to have a podium on that stock bike.
Yeah, it's been really impressive, and it's been fun to see JD get his form back and back having fun and a smile on his face on the race weekends, and he's had a tremendous year, not only in stock 1000, but you know, a Superbike podium on a stock 1000 bike. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, and obviously tomorrow's race, the big one for JD Beach, the final race of the stock 1000 campaign, goes into that with the chance of wrapping up that championship or winning that championship as well, and that'll be the #1 plate that he's after. But we'll go back to Greg and JP.
MotoAmerica Superbikes is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, and by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes, live on top sports books and DFS platforms all season long.
Podium celebrations for Josh Herrin after an unbelievable race. And let's take a look at these championship standings, because with 100 points remaining in this championship for 2025, this is what everybody wants to know. So Fong still leads, but now only by 13 points, and Herrin's right there 18 points back. And so with 100 points left, we still have Gagne in the mix. Our coverage will continue from COTA after this.
JD Beach, our Superbike Cup champion for the season, and Rod, we've already talked about how good of a job JD's been able to do in that class this season.
Yeah, not only JD, but the team as well with Honda back in the series this year. It's great to see them have some success.
We're going to get the chance to hear from JD down there in Park Ferme with Jamie Howe.
For JD Beach, able to celebrate now on behalf of the AMA. Ken Salat handing off the #1 plate for the Superbike Cup. 15 times so far this season you stood atop of the box for the Superbike Cup. Stock 1000 machinery. Being out there in this position, what does this mean to you as a rider at this point in your career?
I mean, it's really cool. It'd be really cool to win the stock class tomorrow, but to win the Cup it's awesome, and I guess going forward, the Cup class is going to be the new stock class. So, I mean, I got a championship now, and I mean, it's really cool. The team's worked really hard. It's great that MotoAmerica has put together this class, and it pays good too. So it's awesome, and but we still got some racing to do. So, honestly, I didn't know I was going to wrap it up today, but I'm really pumped with it.
There are a few times this season that you've said, you know, we're going to be behind the 8 ball. We're going to be a little further back because we're on stock 1000s. There are a lot of long straightaways. You've proven that doesn't always hold you back. You're in the mix today. You've been on the podium overall in Superbike. You've been inside of the top 5 throughout the season. What you've been able to do as a rider has inspired a lot of others that are also in this platform. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I show up, I'm here to race. And we are down on power a little bit, and we don't have electronics like what the Superbikes do. But when the light goes out, I'm here to go racing, and that's what I've done my whole life. I'm a racer, and I've worked really hard, and it's been really cool to put that stock bike up there. And I mean, the Honda is a great platform, and it's been a great bike for me. And I think we've just been building all year, and it's been a really good year. And I mean, I just got to thank my whole team. American Honda, Progressive, Pro Honda Oils, my whole crew. We've been working really hard, and to have a stock bike up there in that many races and be that consistent across a bunch of different kind of tracks, it's been really cool.
Not just a racer, also a champion. Congratulations.
Great performance from JD Beach through the course of the season. Thanks, Jamie, for that interview. We're going to go back to Greg and JP to bring us to a close here for the Superbike class at the Circuit of the Americas.
Well, I hope you've been able to catch your breath after an outstanding Superbike race number 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. And boy, when we look ahead to tomorrow, I know there's going to be a lot of work done. And now that we know that Cameron Beaubier has been riding injured with that wrist injury, it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to it tomorrow. And Josh Herron as well, after putting a full race distance on it. Josh talked about how tight his knee was getting at the top of it. I think it's more the mobility for Josh than it is the pain. But Jay, it was an awesome race. Any predictions for tomorrow?
It's going to be anybody's. I think Bobby Fong's going to go to work for the attack tonight. He's going to figure out a way to get himself to the front of this race tomorrow.
We'll do it again, 3 p.m. East. Race number 2. You don't want to miss it, especially after the unbelievable race we had today. Well, for Jamie and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks so much for checking out our coverage of MotoAmerica Superbike Circuit of the America. We will see you tomorrow for race number 2. Mark it in your calendar.